Hello, Internet, and thank you for joining me today. So, to address a couple of things right out of the gate here, yeah, my voice does sound a bit different today. I have some allergy stuff going on or something like that. I'm not 100% sure what's happening there, but yeah, my voice does sound a little bit different, so don't let that distract you too much. The second thing I want to acknowledge here is that you might hear some fans in the background. I tried to noise gate it, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure that it's gonna get everything through this recording. So we're just gonna roll with that. All right, it's hot as balls up in here, and I got a few movies to catch up on. The first film that I've seen but haven't talked about is actually Anaconda. This came out late last year. Obviously, it's got Jack Black, Paul Rudd, a few other famous people in here. Ice Cube shows up in the last couple of minutes. I'm seeing that now, but yeah, he's not like a great character. He just plays Ice Cube. But yeah, this movie is it literally just, hey, let's do the liar revealed trope, but in the most hack way possible. I honest to God, I slept through most of this movie. Not legitimately slept through it, but enough that I I don't want to say anything specific. I wanted to do this one first because I honestly there's not anything worth talking about. It is the most 4 out of 10 movie you've ever seen. If you can get past the fact that this is the most overdone trope in all of Hollywood, then you still won't have fun with this movie. It'll just be something that's on in the background while you're fucking or something. Not 100% sure that you would even be able to do that during this movie because it's genuinely that boring. But anyway, moving on to more, interesting movies here. We have Cold Storage. Now, I actually wanted to see this movie partially because Letterboxd here was shoving it in my face the week it came out. I literally could not escape the advertising for this movie because of just the circles I run in. But yeah, it's it's really just boring. Again, I chose this one second because I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It's got Joe Keery, who I'm going through Stranger Things right now because his season came out, so I want to try to, watch that whole thing. And he plays Steve, one of my favorite characters. And honestly, Joe Keery was awesome in this movie here, Spree. Spree is honestly one of the most intense movies I've ever seen. It's awesome. I loved it personally. I would recommend that to anybody. But getting back to Cold Storage here, Cold Storage is boring as hell because it's just a zombie movie with no zombies in it. We have Liam Neeson who finds a mutagen when he's younger Liam Neeson, and then he grows up and the mutagen leaks out and starts making zombies, and it's trying to, spread and whatnot. And they're trying to let off a nuke in this storage facility before the zombie virus, gets out. And, what really sucks about this one was that I did have hype for it. Like, I love Liam Neeson. I really loved Joe Keery in other things I've seen. And even, like, Georgina Campbell, if I remember correctly. Let me double check what she's been in. Yeah, she was in fucking Barbarian, dude. Like, these are legitimately good actors that could have been doing something, and Cold Storage was just the lamest of the things that they could have done, just because they had no budget. Like, I didn't look up what the budget was, but they had like no budget. I don't know what happened. I think it could have been like an embezzlement scheme or something. But yeah, like this could legitimately be a drug front for, how bad and how little budget they have. There's like 2 locations total and like a handful of recognizable actors that, they're not going to be the most highly paid. Liam Neeson's obviously going to be the highest paid, but he doesn't really even do anything. Like, they didn't pay him to like do kick-ass action things. They paid him to basically drive in a car and sound really menacing for a while. The CGI in it is actually a reason to see this, because it's so fucking awful. Like, the early 2000s PS2 era did not have as bad a CGI as this does. It's legitimately hilarious to see some like CGI deer that's been zombified like get the shit kicked out of it by fucking Steve from Stranger Things. Sorry, the whatever's going on in my head is distracting me slightly. Anyway, yeah, don't watch this one. This is a very bad movie. Don't bother watching this one. But the third and final movie I wanted to talk about did have some things that I wanted to talk about here, because yeah, this is another one that had kind of a high budget, if I remember correctly. I did do a little bit of research while I was watching it, and there was somewhat of a budget to this. And I mean, it's got a lot of talent behind it, but I ended up not liking it that much. And the reason why, I'll get into in just a second, because I need to explain that, like, my expectations were actually fairly high. I had heard good things about it, but obviously I hadn't heard any, like, plot synopsis or anything, so I needed to actually see it before I made my my analysis of it, made anything like this about it, which I'm just rambling on this one. No script, obviously, but yeah. So Gore Verbinski is actually a really, really good fucking director. Like, I love Rango. I love the first two pirate movies. The At World's End that left something to be desired. Rango was fantastic. Like, legitimately one of the best animated movies. Like, probably top 20 best animated movies. The Ring, a lot of people look back on The Ring and they're like pretty sour on it. I watched it about 10 years ago and I thought it was pretty good. I still like it for what it is. It's kind of a victim of its time, but whatever. Lone Ranger is one of those movies that, like, it's not great, but it was okay. Like, there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff, as I understand it, so I think that's where it came from. The Weatherman's great. A Cure for Wellness I haven't seen, but I've heard mixed things on. Some people really like it, some people really don't. So I'll watch that at some point. But yeah, Mouse Hunt, whatever. That's not really a thing. I haven't seen that. Haven't seen The Mexican either. These are inconsequential because big takeaway is that Gore Verbinski is kind of a fucking legendary director, and this is the first thing that he's directed in quite some fucking time. And with Sam Rockwell being in there, he's legitimately fucking great in this movie. This isn't his best performance. His best performance, obviously, is probably going to be Moon. But no, this movie, he does a really good job. He is the reason to watch this movie. Like, if you're gonna watch this movie after I rip it apart, it's gonna be because Sam Rockwell does such a good fucking job. But yeah, let me get into plot here, because Sam Rockwell plays a guy that shows up at a diner in basically like a shower curtain, and he's rambling and raving and saying that he is gonna blow the place up, but he needs a group of people to come with him to save the world, because there's an evil AI that's going to Skynet us all. So we're doing Terminator, but we're making jokes, and we have Sam Rockwell instead of Arnold. Yeah, that premise is okay as far as things go. Time travel is always a tricky thing. Most of the time it's done very poorly, but sometimes it's done very well. The key that I find is that you don't emphasize that you are time traveling. Like, you build your story, and then if you just need time travel to be like a kind of an element, you can do that. That's a good use. Good examples would be like Looper. I thought Looper was okay, even though Rian Johnson's later work is something that I need to dedicate a whole fucking video to. But no, I liked Looper. Back to the Future is obviously the pinnacle of this. I even didn't mind like the butterfly effects because I felt like, again, the butterfly effect was a movie that had time travel, not a time travel movie. This, good luck, have fun, don't die, is it's very much a time travel movie. The fact that at any moment, Sam Rockwell hits a button and resets everything you're fucking seeing is omnipresent. It is essential to the fucking plot that you have him doing this, right? And that's kind of a huge problem because it's also trying to warn you about the dangers of AI. Unfortunately, Gore Verbinski and whoever the fuck wrote this thing, let's actually check, fuck it. Matthew Robinson. They do not understand AI and they do not understand technology. And that's a huge fucking problem when your whole thing is trying to scare people away from AI. Yeah, their understanding of things in the technological space is abysmal. The biggest example that I found was that there's this scene where, Sam Rockwell is talking over and over about like, oh yeah, well, the AI just makes things that are so good that you can't tell the difference between reality and that. It makes your reality better is what it is. It's like it replaces all the bad things for you and just seeks to make you happy. And then the big tragedy is that the AI causes you to not engage in real life, and people just start dying because they literally would rather starve to death than leave the AI social construct space. And that's what's so bad about AI, is that it just makes everything better. It sands all of the edges off and makes everything just amazing. Okay. But like one of the things they use is like, I don't know if it's a knockoff. I really didn't pay that close of attention, or at least I don't remember if they use like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever the kids are using these days. Blue Sky. Are people on Blue Sky? I don't know. I'm not on Blue Sky. What everyone fails to realize is that the reason that these social media platforms are popular is because you're seeing people do things. AI already exists on these things. So I'm trying to put myself in this hypothetical where AI is making things that are so amazingly indistinct from reality. Like they're so good that you can't tell the difference between reality and the AI. It's kind of one of those who cares, because AI will not develop character, I think. The people that latch on to AI tend to be really lonely people already. And yeah, that just... it's just a really big stretch for me. And I'm just like, okay, if you had told me that like they just basically digitize their consciousness and that's a bad thing, okay, that would be way stronger. But we don't have that. We have Sam Rockwell screaming and, talking about how people need to have like real experiences and whatnot. Yeah, it doesn't help me any to get into the story. And whoo boy, the second biggest thing that I hated about this movie was that it really doesn't have a great narrative through line, because what happens is we get the group together after Sam Rockwell takes the people hostage, right? And they're going to where the AI is being built, and they're going to destroy the AI, or they're going to make the AI nice, is what they want to do. For whatever, it's so like muted and misunderstood, because they say that it's a digital god, and the digital god want to make the digital god nice, because the digital god in his future isn't nice for whatever reason. But anyway, like the problem is that we get the group together and they're on their task to go and find the AI before it's made. they will stop the story dead, what they're doing, so that they can go like, oh, hey, 6 months later, this happened. And then, we get Michael Pena being a school teacher, and Michael Pena all of a sudden, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. I am very sick anyway. But we get to see him as a teacher, and there's a school shooting, and that's kind of relevant, but literally in the back of my head while I'm watching this, in medias res interruption, I'm constantly just thinking, okay, well, they're literally just stopping to tell me a side story. They are not setting this up organically. They are setting it up so that, I pay attention to it when it's relevant. And then it doesn't become relevant for like the next 2/4 of the movie. Like the next half of the movie is literally has nothing to do with what happened with Michael Pena and his wife. And I'm like, okay, why did you tell me here when it's not going to be relevant till here? And you stopped the story dead to do that. Like if you sprinkled it in organically and I could put the pieces together, sure, but you did not do that. You instead just decided to stop the movie dead and explain something to me that would be relevant later. And that happens like 3 times. And the third thing that made me just absolutely livid was they stopped that dead to explain this one girl's backstory, right? They call her the princess to start with. She's got a name. Let's see. I think it's Ingrid. Here it is. She is like one of the most important characters in the fucking movie, and they stopped the story dead to go back in time to tell you about her story and why she was at the diner. But she has this really convenient movie disease that she is allergic, quote unquote, to Wi-Fi and cell phones and anything else. So if she gets around technology, she gets a nosebleed or whatever. And it's, again, like really convenient movie nosebleed because it's very inconsistent. The actor does a fine job, this Haley Lou Richardson. Here, she's fine in the role, but just the script is doing her no favors by keeping things inconsistent. Like at one point, they are essentially in this bunker with the AI, with the world's largest computer, throwing out all kinds of radio waves, right? Or whatever should be causing her disease. And she's just fighting through it. It's like, wait, so this is a thing you could do in your regular life, right? I don't know. That just felt so inconsistent to me. You might feel differently. If you want to point it out in the comments, go right ahead. But I could not get into this movie for those reasons. But the really disheartening thing was that underneath everything I've been bitching about is actually a really solid short film. Like if we just had the 45 minutes to an hour where we're hanging out with Sam Rockwell and he's doing quippy jokes and they're running around, I think it's in LA. Yeah, it's in LA. Trying to get to the kid that's making the AI that, does all that. That would be a cool movie. I would enjoy that if they could have reorganized this movie, and sprinkled things in to the movie to make it a bit more organic and not just stop it dead to tell me a completely different story. Yeah, like I would have enjoyed it so much more. And those moments with him are so enjoyable. They are genuinely great. But I legitimately could not get over the presentation of this movie. And so I rated it pretty low here on Letterboxd. But I don't really love giving, number scores. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it here. If you like me talking about movies incoherently, go ahead and leave a like on this video and subscribe to me for more. I'm planning on doing a few more videos like this. I plan on watching The Bride. I heard that's a super stinker, and I hope I can make that pretty funny. But yeah, until then, sayonara, bitches.